Modric to Milan, Pogba is back in the mix. Has he already found a new club? Chelsea are signing a fresh keeper, Félix is heading back to Portugal, and Bruno Fernandes has made a statement about leaving Man United. Guys, let's aim for 500 likes on this video. That's my personal boost, because without it, this content just doesn't write itself. So don't be shy. Don't deprive me of my motivation. Meanwhile, let's dive straight into the hottest transfer rumors. Luka Modric has finally found himself a new home. And not at Inter Miami, not at Rangers, and not even alongside Ronaldo at Al Nassr, but at none other than AC Milan. This is one of those moments that proves age really is just a number, while true class is absolutely timeless. Honestly, who really thought that after his epic career at Real Madrid, Luka would still be chasing something serious in European football? Yet here we are, with a twist nobody saw coming. Modric, who's been a lifelong admirer of the Rossoneri, finally gets to pull on the iconic red and black shirt. If that's not pure football romance, I don't know what is. The guy has loved Milan since he was a kid, and now, at 39, he's about to live his dream. And you know what's really cool? For ages it looked like. After Real, Modric's only option was to wind down somewhere under the palm trees or cash in at a wealthy Arab club. But Luka isn't giving up that easily. He's clearly determined to prove that he can still carry a team and himself at the highest level. Honestly, judging by his performances last season, I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up as one of the leaders of Milan's new era. Let's be honest, Milan only finished 8th in Serie A this year. That's just not good enough for a club of their stature. Now, everyone at Milan seems convinced the deal is basically done, just waiting on the official announcement in the next day or two. Luka didn't waste much time making his decision. It's like he instantly felt that San Siro was his next big challenge. With the World Cup still on the horizon, Modric is clearly planning to end his career in style. So let's wait for the official word, but in the meantime, just picture this. Luka Modric at San Siro, the crowd roaring, wearing those legendary red and black stripes. Beautiful, right? João Félix, a player once touted as Portugal's next Ronaldo, now, let's be honest, his career looks like a roller coaster with only one direction: down. This is a guy who, at 19, cost as much as a private jet and was hyped as the project of the decade. Now, he's desperately searching for any meaning in his football life. Seriously, if you told me a couple of years ago that we'd be talking about Félix possibly returning to Benfica, I'd have laughed it off, like, how do you fall that far in just 6 years? But reality bites. He never became the guy at Atletico, Chelsea, Barca, or Milan. And now, his boyhood club, Benfica, the place where he first burst onto the scene and slapped on that headline-grabbing price tag, is back in the picture. Word is, talks are already underway about a loan deal with Chelsea, and it's pretty clear João himself is open to the comeback. Let's face it, pride isn't really a factor anymore. At this point, the guy just wants to feel like a footballer again, not a suitcase with no handle that keeps getting shipped around on loan. What's interesting is that Benfica want to get this done before the Club World Cup kicks off. The timing couldn't be better. A chance for Félix to reboot, a chance for Benfica to add some spark to their attack. But as always, there's one snag: money. Chelsea are sick of loaning him out and want to get rid of him for good, preferably not for free. Their asking price? 30 million plus bonuses. For the Portuguese market, that's basically outer space. So here's the question: will Benfica really take the gamble and splash the cash on a former star who hasn't shined for a while? The alternatives aren't that exciting either. Most interest is from Saudi Arabia or South America. Félix turns 26 this year. Technically, that's peak age for a footballer, but if you look at his career, it feels like the guy's already worn out by all the transfers and uncertainty. Another season of pointless loans won't do him any favors. He needs a real reset, not just a new club, but a return to somewhere he actually felt valued, where he belonged. Maybe, just maybe, Benfica is his last chance to prove he's not just another lost talent. Either way, Benfica badly need attacking reinforcements, and Félix's versatility is a big plus. He can play pretty much anywhere up front. But going back to Stamford Bridge, that ship has definitely sailed. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea finally call time on the endless loan carousel and just cut ties with Félix for good this summer. Let me know in the comments. Do you think João can really relaunch his career back home? Or is this just the final chapter for another former wonder kid? Here's what's going on with Bruno Fernandes, and honestly, it just makes you want to ask, how many times do we need to explain that money isn't everything? The Saudis from Al Hilal came calling, threw around stacks of cash, nearly £100 million for Manchester United's captain, who's under contract until 2027. You'd think, who could say no to that, right? But Bruno's just not that guy who lights up at the sight of zeros in his bank account. He told the club straight up, "Guys, I'm not going to the Middle East." Can you even imagine what they offered him? Footballing retirement with a yacht, a palace, and a personal sheikh on speed dial. But no, Fernandes wants to stay at United, even though the last couple of years have been far from a fairy tale. He could easily walk, slam the door on the way out, and the club honestly wouldn't even hold him back. Just say the word, and if the price is right, the suitcase is packed. That's the wildest part. United basically say, yeah, we're not stopping you, but if you do leave, just bring in a big enough offer. From a business perspective, it makes total sense. Almost £100 million for a 30-year-old captain, whose wages already make Sancho and Antony jealous. For the club, that money would be a breath of fresh air in these days of financial fair play and penny pinching. But what does Bruno do? He stands firm. I want to play at the top level. I want to stay and fight for trophies. In a world where half the stars will pack their bags for the next fat contract, that's honestly pretty respectable. It's not just about the money, it's about ambition and character. You can tell this guy loves football, not just the bonuses. So here's my question for you. If you were in his shoes, would you give in to the temptation of hundreds of millions, or would you stay and keep proving yourself in a top league? Don't you think stories like this are what football needs right now, and why the game still has soul? And to my viewers who, like Bruno, aren't swayed by shiny offers, but also still haven't subscribed to the channel, is that a principled stand, or did you just forget? Hit that button. Don't be like the Saudis, coming and going without getting anything done. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and honestly, all respect to Fernandes for taking this stand. Oh, and if you think those transfer talks were ever at the finish line, not even close. All that contacts, negotiations, almost done, just tabloid headlines. Nothing really materialized because Bruno simply has no interest in swapping Old Trafford for desert gold. That's the situation with United's main engine right now. Chelsea's wallet is itching again. This time, their sights are set on Xavi Simons from RB Leipzig, not just another young player, but one of the hottest properties on the market right now. The guy's just turned 22, and he's already on every Premier League club's transfer wish list. And here's the kicker. Chelsea aren't just casually watching from afar. They've already been on the phone to his agents, figuring out how to lure this prodigy to Stamford Bridge. Looks like Bowley still hasn't given up on his dream of collecting a full set of football stickers. Simons, by the way, is that rare midfielder who can both bang in goals and pick a pass like Modric. 76 games for Leipzig, 21 goals, 23 assists. That's absolutely insane for someone his age. But let's be honest, even with those numbers, the Germans haven't exactly given him a guaranteed spot in the starting 11 lately. The kid's clearly fed up with the roulette. One day he's playing, the next, he's on the bench. Now, the real Premier League scramble begins. It's not just Chelsea in the race, Spurs have been lurking too. They even made calls back in the winter. But it looks like they hesitated too long, and now Chelsea might swoop in ahead of them. Arsenal? They've been eyeing him for ages, but as usual, they're just watching from the sidelines. Classic story. Spend half a year thinking, then act shocked when someone else snaps him up. And of course, Liverpool are in the mix. Arne Slot dreams of adding a versatile talent like Simons to freshen up his midfield. But here's the real question. Where's the guarantee Simons won't just end up riding the bench for £65 million? The guy wants to play, not just cash in and collect splinters. So the real battle is, who's going to offer not just a suitcase full of cash, but a real promise that he won't become just another lost face in Chelsea's ever-growing collection. This transfer isn't just about money, it's about which club is actually willing to bet on young talent, not just plug holes. So, who do you think has the best shot at landing Simons? Chelsea, who are ready to roll the dice, or is someone else about to play their joker and steal the show? Drop your thoughts in the comments, while I check how many young talents in Europe Chelsea haven't signed yet. I honestly don't know whether to laugh or cry. Jadon Sancho is changing clubs again, but this time it just feels like his Manchester United shirt is hanging on a hook at Old Trafford, waiting for him while he's off on loan. We were only just getting used to seeing Sancho tearing it up in blue. 10 assists, 5 goals, the buzz was real, emotions running high. For a moment, it looked like we finally got to see the old Jadon back in action. But in the end, Sancho's London party crashed, right into a wage scandal. Chelsea couldn't stomach his salary demands. Can you believe we're talking nearly £300,000 a week? Say what you want, but that's apparently just too much for the new humble Chelsea. The club asked him to take a pay cut to fit their new wage cap, and as you'd expect, the standoff began. Sancho wouldn't budge. Chelsea wouldn't compromise, so now Chelsea have to pay United £5 million to end the loan early. And Sancho's headed back to Manchester. And this whole transfer saga wraps up without a happy ending for anyone. Chelsea lose a creative winger, Sancho's back in limbo. So now the big question is, who actually wants him in his current state? Let's be real, in the past few years, Sancho's been in the headlines more for drama than for anything on the pitch. United, for their part, aren't even pretending to want him back. The club's made it clear they're ready to cash in and use the funds for new signings. So, no fairy tale about one more chance. They're just hitting the sell button and waiting for European agents to call. The irony? Not that long ago, Sancho cost a wild £73 million. His value's dropped, but there's still interest. He's young, he's got technique, and his Dortmund days still mean something for clubs looking for a creative, pacey winger. The real question is, will anyone be willing to pay those massive wages? That's the real guess the wage cap quiz for clubs, and honestly, the answer isn't looking great. Chances are, we're in for another round of the Sancho show this summer. Rumours, negotiations, intrigue. But honestly, it feels like the credits are starting to roll on Sancho's star days in the Premier League. What about you? Do you think Jadon can get out of this transfer dead end? Or is he destined to keep living out of a suitcase, dreaming about his old glory days? Drop your ideas in the comments. Where would you send Sancho, and for what price if you were the sporting director? And, by the way, while Sancho's still figuring out his next club, I can't figure out why more than 80% of you watch my videos regularly, but still aren't subscribed to the channel. Is this some kind of conspiracy? The silent treatment? Or just parking the bus, Mourinho style? Subscribe! This channel's got more updates than Chelsea's squad after summer vacation. Chelsea are shuffling the deck again, and this time it's not about the attack or midfield. They're making noise in the goalkeeper department. Honestly, who had goalkeeper on their bingo card as the headline story in London this summer? But here we are. The Blues are officially going after Mike Maignan from Milan. This isn't just tabloid talk, it's a real offer on the Rossoneri's table. Here's what matters. Maignan's only got 1 year left on his Milan contract. Classic situation. After missing out on Europe, Milan are in a financial hole and desperately need cash, and letting a top keeper walk for free in a year is just too much, even for the geniuses of Italian management. All season it seemed nailed on that Maignan would sign a new deal and become their new Donnarumma, minus all the agent drama. But money talks, and now Maignan's basically packing his bags. The funny part? Chelsea didn't even need a new keeper right now. They were planning to give Sanchez a real shot, maybe test the young guys. But the moment a world-class keeper like Maignan became available, all those plans went out the window. Classic Chelsea, who's surprised? So, if this deal happens, Maignan walks in as the undisputed number one. And Sanchez, signed to be the new rock between the sticks, but now could end up as surplus to requirements. Chelsea's already stacked with young, talented keepers, and now they're bringing in a proven leader with top league experience and huge ambitions. Now here's the big question. Is this the start of a deliberate keeper revolution, or just another chaotic attempt to paper over cracks in the transfer market? Because right now, it honestly feels like there's no clear direction at Chelsea when it comes to big decisions. Don't get me wrong, signing Maignan would be an incredible upgrade. The guy's not just elite, he brings a whole new level of confidence and could transform the entire defense. But will this rebuild turn into another British madness with endless buying just for the sake of buying? We'll see which way the pendulum swings in the coming weeks. What about you? Would you stick with Maignan or give Sanchez a real chance? Drop your opinions in the comments on who should be Chelsea's number one. We'll be keeping an eye on this goalkeeping soap opera. Pogba'S back on the market, and honestly, this feels more like a football soap opera than just another transfer saga. A guy who, just a couple of years ago, was serving up assists for Ronaldo and lifting the World Cup, now finds himself clubless, match-shy, and stamped with 18 months out, thanks to his ban. Just imagine, while others were tearing up the Champions League, Pogba was grinding away on a treadmill, squeezing every last bit out of himself just to prove he's not finished at the top level. But here's the big question. Where's Pogba headed now? The rumor mill's been in overdrive. 1 minute, it's MLS calling. Next, it's Saudi clubs waving their millions. And now, Marseille have popped up, talking about a possible reunion with Greenwood. On paper, it sounds great. But there's one problem. The Frenchman's wage demands are just way out of Marseille's league. Seriously, Pogba still wants to be on a contract like he's at Manchester United. So when Marseille backed out, Monaco reportedly stepped into the frame. The logic? Monaco are back in the Champions League, looking for someone to boss the midfield. And let's face it, signing Pogba would be a PR coup. But here's the catch. Nobody at Monaco is in any rush. Adi Hütter will have to think long and hard before gambling on a guy who's spent the last 2 years training more than actually playing. Would you take that risk? Because with Pogba, it's pure football poker. Go all in and you might get a superstar. Or just another permanent fixture in the medical room. Honestly, I want to believe Pogba still has one good season left in him, at least enough not to just make fans feel sorry for him, but after such a long layoff, no one's giving guarantees. By the way, the MLS and Saudi options are still alive. If there's one thing those leagues love, it's a big name. And they're not above overlooking a checkered past if it means headlines and shirt sales. So now, the ball's in Monaco's court. Will they take a chance on this dark horse or decide that stability matters more than another question mark in the dressing room? Speaking of stability, you know what would make this channel super stable and happy? If you, my loyal viewers, who drop by more often than Pogba'S made the starting 11 in recent years, finally hit that subscribe button. It's not like signing Pogba, no financial risk involved, but trust me, there's a ton of good stuff coming your way if you do. So that's the story. Pogba at the crossroads again, maybe his last real shot to prove he's still got it. And as always, we'll be watching and waiting for the next twist in the tale. What do you think? Does Pogba deserve one more chance, or is it time to move on? Let's talk in the comments. The Sun era at Tottenham is really coming to an end. And not just any end, but the kind of finale people will be re-watching on YouTube with dramatic music in the background. Just think about it. The captain who's carried Spurs for nearly a decade finally lifts his first trophy with the club and immediately lands on the radar of the Saudis. In case you haven't been following, Sun just recently lifted the Europa League trophy over his head, and now the London club is apparently ready to part ways with the face of their team. Why? The answer's simple. His contract runs out next summer, and if they don't sell now, Sun walks for free in 2026. And Spurs love money almost as much as they love a beautiful left-footed screamer, so it looks like they're ready to send their Korean idol on a new adventure, especially with some big Saudi cash on the table. Let's be honest, when the Saudi Pro League clubs switch on the shredder and start coming for stars, it's not just some retirement plan on the beach, it's a full-on football party, Cristiano style. Picture it. Sun, with his massive Asian fanbase, global profile and experience, would absolutely blow up the marketing scene for one of those Saudi giants. Even the local camels would be supporting Al Hilal or whoever's at the top now. But doesn't it feel a bit weird to say goodbye like this? He finally wins a trophy, signs on for one more season, becomes captain and a true club legend, and now the rebuild starts. Who's going to be handing out smiles at press conferences or banging in screamers under the bar? Or maybe the club decided it's easier to build something new without the heart of the dressing room, but with a nice fat transfer fee instead. 32 is nothing for Sun. The guy works like 3 players, and whether he's on the wing or up top, he's a threat from anywhere. And don't forget the Asian market. Imagine how many shirts with his name will sell worldwide if he moves to the Middle East. The Saudis clearly want their own Ronaldo effect, and Sun is the perfect candidate. So, Tottenham fans, get ready for a new reality. Your familiar number 7 might be playing on the other side of the planet next season. Would you cash in on Sun for the sake of a rebuild, or try to convince him to stay one more year? Or is it time to let him leave while the club can still make something from it? Let me know in the comments, because honestly, I still can't believe this era is actually coming to a close.